Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone that might be on here. Welcome, welcome. This is a dose of encouragement with me, as always. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We will start in few. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As I share up here, you are all welcome. Jehovah, you are the great I am. You are all welcome, you are all welcome, you are all welcome. Uni obiarante sao. Uni obiarante sao. Mabandin me jani kobia. You are welcome, 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 welcome. You are welcome to a dose of encouragement. You are welcome. You are welcome. You are welcome. It's another beautiful morning, and you are welcome to a dose of encouragement with me. You are most welcome. We will start in few. As we always do it, we will start in few in a couple of minutes. You are my strong tower that I run to. In time of need, you are my rock, my life, my salvation, my salvation. Jehovah, you are welcome, you are welcome, you are welcome. You are my strong tower that I run to. You are my present help in time of need. You are my rock, my life, my salvation. Jehovah, you are welcome, you are welcome, you are welcome. Obiarante sao. Obiarante sao. Mabandin no me jane kobia. Oni me tabia. Jehovah, you are the great. You are welcome to a dose of encouragement. Jehovah, All right. So it's a beautiful morning again on Monday morning. And this is a dose of encouragement. This is your girl, one and only Amanda. And you are welcome. As we always do it here, you are welcome to a dose of encouragement. And I pray that as I'm in your way, or as I'm with you this morning, I will get the utterance to bring whatever I have to be able to share with you. So once again, welcome, and thank you all for the support. We appreciate it. Thank you all. The support has been immense, and we bless God for your life as you keep sharing for us, as you keep promoting the page and the videos. We appreciate you all so much. So as we all can see in the description down below, today our topic is problems are not stop signs, they are guidelines. They are not stop signs, they are guidelines. And you ask me, how is a problem a guidelines for me? We will get into that in few. But before we start, I want us to ask ourselves this question. How do we behave when we are in trouble? How do we behave when we find ourselves in issues? How do we behave when things are not going well for us? How do we behave when problems come our way? How do we behave? How do we behave? What are our actions when it gets to these trying times? What are our options or our actions? How do we behave? Do we just sit and do nothing? Do we just crawl into our shell and say we cannot deal with this, so we're not trying? Most of the times when problems comes, we tend to get overwhelmed, which is normal, don't get me wrong. We get overwhelmed as to how we are going to solve that problem. We see that problem as roadblocks. Instead, we see them as stop signs. Instead of even allowing them to stop us from moving entirely. We tend to just sit there and do nothing. We see those problems as roadblocks, as stop signs, but they are not. They are guidelines to shape us. This will be part 2 from last week on don't stop until you are proud of yourself. So we tend to sit there and do nothing. We make those problems stop us from moving forward entirely. But you need to learn something. You need to take time and look at what the problem is. And looking at what the problem is, you need to practice mindfulness. And also using the apple approach. We shouldn't sit there for the problems to just take over us. It might be hard. You might not know where to start from, but do not let it stop you entirely. Do not let that problem stop you entirely. Do not see those problems as stop signs. Do not see them as roadblocks. See them as a chance to be able to learn something. See them as a chance to be able to move from where you are to a different level or to somewhere else. Practice mindfulness and use the apple approach. And we'll get into that in few. Do not let problems let us stop entirely. Do not see them as roadblocks. Do not see them as stop signs. See them as guidelines. See them as something that will help you shape your life or shape the next decision that you make. Do not see those problems as roadblocks. Do not see them that way. You will be worried, yes. You will be troubled, yes, because you have problems, yes. But do not see them as stop signs. They are something to help you arrange yourself. Somebody will say, they are something to help you reshuffle yourself. Encourage yourself when those problems comes. And in practicing the mindfulness approach, you gotta give thanks. Give thanks in times of trouble. Give thanks in times of problems. Give thanks. Because being thankful is a good way to reframe the way you look at your problems. Giving thanks is a way to see how you look at the problems. Bible says that God does not give us anything that we cannot handle. So give thanks. And when you are grateful, we turn to put ourselves in a receptive manner, in a receptive state to receive. What are we receiving? To receive knowledge, to receive direction, to receive a way forward. Do not see them as stop signs, but see them as guidelines. Do not see your problems as stop signs. See them as guidelines. Let your hopes, not your hurt, shape your future. Let your hopes, not your hurt, shape your future. Do not see those problems as stop signs. Nobody wants to be in problems. Nobody wants to be in trouble. But when they come, see them as guidelines for the next phase. And do not let them stop you entirely. Do not say that, oh, I have an issue, so I cannot move. I cannot do anything. I am just going to sit there. Don't do that. Don't do that. See them as guidelines for the next direction. See them as guidelines. See them as a map, not as stop signs. Instead of seeing them as stop signs, see them as a map. See your problems as a roadmap for your next destination. See them as a map. Each problem we face help us determine how we are going to solve the next problem. Each problem we face gives us clarity. It helps us build our commitment to ourselves. Do not see them as stop signs. See them as roadmap. Use them as guidelines. Because what do we use roadmaps for? Directions, right? So use these problems as direction for the next one. Do not let it stop you entirely. Do not let it stop you from moving on. Do not do that. Don't be afraid to go back to that map. Even if you are sure you know where you are going to. So even if you are sure that that problem that came, you were able to solve it, do not be afraid to go back and revisit that directions that you took, that decision that you took, to use them for the future. Do not be afraid. Even if you're sure you know where you are going to, even if you're sure of your way, see them as roadmaps. See them as directions. See them as something that you can go back and piggyback on. Do not see problems as roadblocks. Do not see them as stop signs. See them as roadmaps, because they are guidelines. As I said, do not be afraid to go back to the old days, to the problem that you faced a while ago, and look at what you did to make sure you moved out of that problem, because that is your roadmap. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Keep sharing for others to be blessed. Thank you. And never make decision when you are down. When you are too low, do not make decision. When you are down, do not make decision. Do not take any serious decision when you are down. Don't. Because when you do take decision when you are down, you might not take the right decision. And then at the end of the day, you will say that, oh, the roadmap did not work. Or the guidelines did not work. Yes, the problem was a stop sign. No, it wasn't. Because you took a decision when you were too down. Give yourself some time. Give yourself some breathing space. Give yourself a break. And when you have clarity, come back to that problem. And decide your way forward. Do not let your problem stop you, because they are not a stop sign. They are guidelines. They are guidelines for your next chapter. They are guidelines for your next decision. They are guidelines for your next breakthrough. So as I said, before you sit there for the problem to stop you entirely, think. Use the mindfulness approach. That's what we're talking about now. And when we're done, we'll talk about the Apple approach too. So do not let them stop you entirely. Be mindful when problem comes. Give thanks when problem comes. Because when you are in thankful state, you tend to be receptive. When you are in thankful state, it gives you a whole perspective of how you see your problems. See those problems as roadmaps and not stop signs. Let them guide you to your next chapter. Let them guide you to your next phase. Let them guide you to your next decision. But when you are down, do not take those decisions yet. Give yourself some time. Let the hurt move out of there and tackle that problems. Because as I said, roadmaps are used for directions. So let that problem guide you. Let your hope and not your hurt shape your future. You know? Do not let those problems be a stop sign for you. Let them be a guidelines for you. And whilst you're doing that, whilst we practice in mindfulness, trust the journey, trust the process. Don't think that you have all the answers when there is problems. Don't think that you have all the answers. You might not have all the answers when there is problems. But when we learn to trust the process, when we learn to trust ourselves, when we learn to embrace the problem and work on it, they will see that the problem isn't a stop sign. Embrace the up and downs of life and tackle each one as and when they come. Do not think that you have answers to everything. Don't think that you have answers to every problem. No, you don't. But when they come, trust in yourself, trust in your decision, trust in the process. Embrace the up and downs. Take one step at a time, knowing that you are safe and guided by that problem. Do not let that problem stop you. Do not see them as stop signs. See them as guidelines. Guide your thoughts. Guide your words. As I said, do not take decision when you are down. When you are too low, do not take a decision. When the problem comes and you think you're too down, do not take decisions. Give it some time. Give it a day or two. And go back and tackle it. Be thankful. Be thankful in that problem. See that problem as a roadmap. And trust the process. Trust the journey. Trust in yourself. Trust in your word. Trust in your decision. Take one step at a time. Embrace the lesson and don't forget to enjoy it. Because it is your decision. It is how you make it. It is how you see your problem. That is when you find solution to it. Do not let those problems stop you. I'm not saying they will not come. They will come. It's part of life. But when they come, don't see them as stop signs. When they come, don't see them as roadblocks. See them as guidelines. See them as maps. You have the ability to solve that problem you are facing, you know. So do not doubt yourself. Do not doubt yourself. Embrace it. Embrace the problem. And think of how you can solve that problem. Embrace the problem. Do not think all is lost. Do not think that, oh, I have a problem, so I cannot do anything. Do not think so. As I said, be mindful. Practice mindfulness when there are problems. And what are the mindfulness that we have to practice? We got to be grateful. We got to see those problems as roadmaps. And we got to trust the journey. And when we do this, we'll be able to solve every problem that come our way. We'll be able to see those problems and say that, yes, they are here, but I can go on. I can make a decision and know that I trust in that decision, and that decision will work for me. And then you come to the Apple approach. And you ask me, Amanda, what is the Apple approach when it comes to problems? These are signs, or these are steps that you can use to solve problems when they come. Or use to navigate through your problems when they come. The Apple process, or the Apple approach. Which the A stands for acceptance. When there is problems, the A in the Apple stands for acceptance. You need to accept that, yes, I have an issue. Because it is only that way that you can begin to find solutions to the issue or to the problem. So the acceptance is the A in the Apple approach. Because if you ignore that problem, then they will become bigger. If you ignore that problem, they will still sit there. Accept the reality of the problem. Accept it. Because that is the first step in solving your issue. accept it. The apple approach. Accept it, which is the A. Accept the fact that there is problem. Accept the fact that, yes, I have an issue. Accept the fact that I need to make decision for this issue. Accept it. Accept it. Accept the problem. Then we go to the P. The P stands for puzzle. Puzzle. Once you accept that there is problem, you realize that every problem comes with a puzzle. Every puzzle has a solution. Puzzle. Proceed one step at a time. There are many unanswered questions, but proceed one step at a time. Remember that even the hardest problem or even the hardest puzzle has a solution. So try to unwind what the puzzle is in that problem. Try to find out what the puzzle is in that problem that you are facing. Because the acceptance gives you clarity. The acceptance in the apple approach gives you clarity. And when you get to the puzzle section, you remember or you find out that every problem has a solution, or every puzzle has a solution. So you have to find that solution in that puzzle of your problem. Do not let problems stop you. It is not a stop sign. It is a guidelines. So find that solution in that puzzle. And take it one step at a time. You ask yourself, who can I? That's when the puzzle comes. You ask yourself, who can I go to for counsel? Who can I go to for advice? Who can I go to for this? That is you trying to unwind the puzzle in your problem. So now you have made use of the A in the apple approach, and now you are on the P, which is the puzzle. Who can I ask for advice from? Who can I go for help from? That is the puzzle that you have to find out. And you got to focus on your current activity that you are taking. Write them down. Whatever thought that comes to your head, when you are trying to unwind that puzzle, write them down. As I said, once you accept that you have a problem, once you work on the A in the apple, that you have a problem, and you accept it, now you are working on the P, which is the puzzle. Now you're finding out what the issue is. How can I remedy that issue? Once again, you are all welcome. This is a dose of encouragement with me, your girl Amanda, and you are so welcome, and thank you all for the support. Thank you for watching, Kwame Michael. So you find out what the issue is, or how you can solve it. That is you trying to figure out the puzzle out. And as I said, figure out who you can go to. And once you get those things down, write them down. So now you've done the A, you've done the P, you move on to the next P, which is perception. Perception. How do you perceive that problem? Do you go into full panic mode when the problem comes? How do you see it? How do you perceive that problem? See that problem, as I said in my other video, see the good side of every situation. Perceiving positivity will give you the energy to move on. Think of how the situation can turn around for the good. Yes, it is a problem. But think of how it can turn for the good. And not just sit in the negative aspect of it. How do you perceive your problems? How do you perceive your problems? Is it making you go into full panic mode, into full fear mode? How do you perceive your problem? Your thoughts become your perception, you know. And perception become reality. So whatever you think up here comes out. So once you have a problem, think positive. How can this problem move from the negative aspect to the positive aspect? How can this problem do this? Or how can I do this? Perceive positively. Think positively. The energy you carry around when you have issues determines what your answer will be or what your end result will be. So if you carry a happy vibe, the end result will be happy. Because you're not going to let that problem stop you. You're not going to let that problem be a roadblock to you. You are going to let that problem be a guideline, be a roadmap for you. Associate yourself with positive people. So when there is a problem, you're not in the negative side. Because when you associate yourself with positive people, you bounce back so quickly. Because each one gives you what you can do to help the problem. That is why I said earlier on in the puzzle solution that's where you find out where you can go. That's where you find out where you can go to get, what do you call it? To get help. I'm sorry. I got sidetracked trying to play the music. So that's when it comes into play. Who do I go to for help? Who do I go to for advice? Who do I go to for this? Perception. The energy you carry determines what your end result will be when you are in trouble or when problem comes. How do you perceive that problem? How do you see that problem? Did you go right into panic mode, into fear mode when that problem came? Perception. So now you have dealt with mindfulness of the problem, which is being thankful, seeing those problems not as a stop sign, but as a roadmap, trusting the journey, and then now you move to the apple approach. You've accepted, you found out what the puzzle is, you've perceived it. Now you go to the L, which is the learning part of your problem. Learning of the problem. Every problem that comes our way comes to teach us one way or the other. It gives us lesson. You always do not know what the future holds when those problems comes. But the way you answer it, the way you help it, the way you work with it determines your future or determines the future of that problem. Let me say that again. Every problem comes our way to teach us, to give us a lesson for the future. And we do not know what the future holds. But the way we handle those problems that comes our way determines what the future of that problem will be and what the future of our decision will be. The best way is to learn from that problem. Learn from it. Take what you can take from it. As I said, they are not a stop sign. They are they are guidelines. So learn from it. Learn from those problems. Those problems can show you who really helped you when you were in trouble. Because you're learning. Maybe you think that everybody around you can help you when there is an issue. They can give you advice. They can help you with their time. But when problem comes, that's when you see who really helps you. Try to look into every bit of activity you engage yourself in when those problems comes. Try to look at them. Learn from it. Engage yourself in that problem and learn from it. But don't let them stop you entirely. Remember that when the learning is from your own experience, you tend to become mentors to somebody else when they face the similar issues or similar problems. So learn from it. Learn from those problems. Don't think that you know all the answer. Don't think that it is a problem, so I cannot learn anything from it. Learn from it. Give yourself time to learn from those problems. So you've accepted it. You've solved that puzzle. You've perceived it positively. And now you're learning. And you're trying to tell me those problems are stop signs? They are not. They are guidelines. Guidelines to help you navigate through life. Guidelines to help you navigate through the next phase when similar problems comes. Do not let them stop you. Remember that when you learn from those problems, then you can be of help to somebody else when they find themselves in that similar situation. Engage yourself. That is the E in the Apple approach. Engage yourself. Engage yourself to move forward once you are out of that problem. Engage yourself to sit back and remind yourself of the steps that you took. Engage yourself not to sit there in that problem. Engage yourself to move on. You might be the light for somebody, you know. As I said earlier, when you go through problems, you tend to become mentors for somebody else. So you might be somebody's light at the end of the tunnel. You might be somebody's savior that he or she is waiting for because you went through that problem. Engage. Help somebody light their candle up. Gather hope, build strength, and engage. Do not say that I went through that problem, so I cannot do it anymore. Engage. And embrace and believe that once you have been able to go through that problems, you can go through anything. Because as I said, problems are not stop signs. They are guidelines. They help us shape our lives. They are not stop signs. You sail through that problem. So what makes you think that that problem can stop you? See the world to be a better place. See the world, you see the world different because you've been able to go through these steps. Are you seeing your problems as stop signs, or you are seeing them as guidelines? Are you seeing your problems as roadblocks, or you are seeing them as maps? And what approach are you using for those problems? What approach? How are you tackling those problems? How are you handling those problems? Are you throwing in the towel because there is a problem and you don't seem to know where to start from? If you don't know where to start from, then I'm here to tell you, start from being mindful of the problem. Be grateful. Because when you are grateful, you see the problem in a different way. When you are grateful, you see the problem in a different dimension. See those problems as roadmaps and not stop signs. Let that problem guide you. Guide you for the next phase. Guide you for the next chapter. Guide you for the next problem. And trust in the process. And once you've done that, or if you don't know to do that, use the apple approach. And the apple approach is you accepting it. You finding what the puzzle of that problem is. You perceiving it positively. You learning from it and you engaging yourself. So when you accept that you have a problem, then you can start to find solutions to it. When you see what the puzzle of that issue is, then you seem to find solution to it. Because as I said, every problem has, or every puzzle has a solution to it. So find out what the main puzzle of that problem is. Perceive that problem. How do you perceive the problem? How do you see the problem? Do you always see your problems as negative? As I said, tend to find positive side of every situation. Do not let the negative overshadow the positive. Do not let the negative overshadow the positives all the time. How do you perceive those problems? As roadblocks? As stop signs? Or as a guidelines or a map for my next chapter? You learn from it. Learn from that problem. Write everything down. Learn from that problem. Ask yourself what that problem taught you. Ask yourself what decision you made from that problem. Ask yourself How were you able to handle that problem? And don't ever think that you have all the answers to every problem that comes our way. Go back to the roadmap. Not two problems might be the same, but certain decisions that you take can be used for other problems. That is why I said earlier on, do not take decision when you are low. Do not take important decisions when you are down. Give yourself some time to pick yourself up and tackle that problem. With that being said, that does not mean when the problem needs immediate remedy, you're going to sit there. That is when you consult others for advice. That is when you consult others for help. And once you've learned, engage. You've learned from the problem. You've solved the problem. Engage back. Because as I said, you might be somebody's light at the end of the tunnel. You might be the source of somebody's candle at the end of the tunnel. So do not sit there and say that I went through that problem, so I am not moving. Do not sit there and say that I went through that problem, so I'm not doing anything. Engage yourself. So not only have you been mindful of the problems, but you tackled it with Apple approach as well. You accepted. You found out what the puzzle was. You perceived it positively. You learned from it. And now you are engaging. Engage back in life. Engage yourself again in the world. Because as I said, the problems that you go through helps you to become mentors to others. That's why I said you might be somebody's light for their problems. Because you tend to know where you can help that person to also not to see their problems as stop signs, but as guidelines. You help them to see how they're not seeing that problem as stop sign, but as roadmaps. You were thankful for that problem because when you became thankful, you became receptive. You took the problem as it was. And you said to yourself, I am not going to let this problem set me back. I am not going to see this problem as stop signs. I am going to see them as guidelines. Do not see them as stop signs. Do not see them as roadblocks. See them as guidelines. And when you do that, you will not only be able to solve the problem, you will not be only to move to the next chapter in life, but you'll be able to help others too when they find themselves in that same issue. So moving forward, we're not going to let our problems stop us. We're not going to see our problems as stop signs. We are going to see them as guidelines. We are going to see them as guidelines. We are going to see them as ways to help us move in life. We will see our problems not as problems anymore. And we will continue to move on in life. We will continue to do our very best not to sit there, not to let problems stop us, not to let issues stop us. but to use approaches that can help us get to the next phase. To use approaches that will help us be able to help others when they find themselves in that same issue. And when we do that, we will see life differently. We will see life in a different dimension. We will see the problems that come our way differently. Once again, this is your girl Amanda, and this is a dose of encouragement. As we do it every Monday morning, we come on here and we learn from each other. We come on here and we take topics and we digest and see how best we can make out of it. Once again, thank you all for the support that you've been showing us. It's been massive and it's been crazy. And we bless God for your life. We thank you for the support. And we say that as you keep supporting us, may help come for you. May your destiny help us locate you. And may when you need help, and may when you need support, may it be available to you. Once again, keep sharing this video for others that need it. Keep sharing on every platform for us. Leave comments down below if you have any. Let us know how we are doing. And if you have any questions, don't be afraid to shoot us a message. We'll be sure to answer. And until then, this is your girl, your host, Amanda Akrofi Aye. And this is a dose of encouragement. We come your way every Monday morning, 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 a.m. Ghana time. Continue to make a date with us. If you haven't followed us yet, please do. Turn the notification button on. So when we come on, you'll be notified that we're on. And you can join us. Thank you all so much. Thank you. We appreciate you. And we pray that God visit you in time of your need. Stay blessed. Have a blissful week. And until we meet again, sometime this week, online, or even next week, be safe. Live life. Laugh more and love more. Thank you all for your support. Thank you all for joining. And until we meet again, I sign out. I am your humble host, Amanda Akrofi Aye. Thank you and goodbye.